going on, guys? Hey, it's Anthony with the Wrenched Out Garage. If you guys have not subscribed, consider doing that. Today we're working on the RZR once again. We're going to be adding a little bit of storage with the underhood access area. Again, make sure to hit subscribe, give it a thumbs up if you like this video. Let's dive into this. So this item is relatively cheap. It's supposed to add a little bit of storage, but I read some reviews online and it's pretty controversial to include YouTube because of the way that you have to install this. Now, here we are over at the RZR. Now, obviously a couple of things. You've got your coolant line. I've got my GPS module. We've got some wiring here. And let me grab this thing and kind of show you. According to the directions, everything in this case, if you look at this, obviously this is supposed to kind of snug in here. Now here is the directions. So put the vehicle in park, remove the hood. The hood's over there. For installing a high lifter with vehicle's fuse box, my 17, then cut out the rear tray. I don't even have, or wait. I guess I do have it, but I'm not a high lifter, so I should be okay. There it is if you do have a high lifter. That's the cutout for it. It says verify coolant recovery hose and front gear case breather hose are secured on the forward side push darts. If it's not secured as shown in step 6, if it's not shown without removing, reroute the harness, then secure the two new cable ties. So here are the two new cable ties right there. If you look at this, I'm assuming, it is an assumption, this is obviously for the bar, which is going to be interesting. This is, I guess, for the coolant. Doesn't make a lot of sense because we also have that humongous wiring harness kind of going through there. So what I'm proposing to do is pop these bolts out. Those two 10mm bolts, because it's going to go to those, and then it's going to go to these front Torx, and let's take a look at this. All right, so here's the grand idea here. So I remove those two, as you can see. So what I'm thinking is, if I can pop these darts up and possibly flip them over, just rotate these over. Hopefully I don't break them, so I'm gonna have to be careful with that. Rotate them over and then run it under. That should take care of this front cavity area. So I'm gonna try to do that. So let's take a look. All right, so I did unbolt these. I actually took this whole thing out. Clips didn't hold, so don't plan on reusing those. They don't hold. But essentially now what I'm thinking is to do it just like this. So if you're watching me here, see that? And then what I'll do is I'll run a zip tie. I think I'll run a zip tie, we'll see. I've got extra zip ties, so they do come with these double-headed zip ties, which is really cool, which I guess I could use as well. But in this case, I think what I'll do is just run this guy through here and run it through the current zip tie, just like, kind of like that. And then I'll do the same thing over here. That way at least this stuff's under it. And these, so look at this, see if you can see it. This middle part just pops up and out, and then you can just remove it just like that. So that's what that looks like. That's for your radiator support and for everything else. So let's try that and then take a look at kind of what that configuration looks like. All right, so let's take a look at this real quick. GPS is still there, wire's still running right there. This guy is essentially good to go. Just ran a zip tie through the hole, just put the stuff under. It's not tight. It's just not tight. So it's loose. The zip tie's tight to the other zip ties, but that way at least the antifreeze line isn't pinched. Now, let's get this guy right here, and let's take a look at it now. So now you're getting kind of a better idea, and supposedly the next issue is going to come from all of that, and that is going to be kind of interesting on how and what I do with that, simply because obviously it's a big pile of wire. According to the picture, according to the picture, this thing should just bolt right down, but obviously now I've got to look at that, and I'm not real sure because obviously these are fairly short wires. Let me grab my cutters. Let's take a look at this. Just a zip tie. That sucker's way too short to run. Well, actually, I wonder if I can just run it above it instead of below it. Let's see what this looks like, because again, this thing doesn't have a lot of room for give. So if it can run above, let me see kind of what that is starting to, oh hey, that is a winner right there. So what that ultimately means is I'm gonna mess with this a little bit. Let me mess with this a little bit. Obviously I need both hands. I don't have a place to kind of prop this. So I'll be back to you here in a second. Bam, so that's gonna work. So just arc this one, or not arced it, just moved it up. I'll mess around with this wire here shortly once I get this installed. You do have to kind of shift these little plates around. So I'm gonna finish bolting this guy in, but like if you can see, I don't know if you can see in there, but these plates obviously aren't sitting straight. So we'll put those back in and we'll see kind of how this looks. I wanna make sure that when I tighten this, it isn't gonna pinch that wire at all. And again, this is just plastic, so it's quite a bit more forgiving than if this was like a metal plate of some kind, which it clearly is not. So we want to make sure, oops, and you can also kind of look down in there, especially in this case. So again, there it is. And these, because I got to move that plate, I'm gonna have to put the camera down again. I apologize for all the camera putting down in this video, but see, I have to get these plates secured in. And then that sits on top, bolts in, money. Let me do that. We'll be right back. All right, so moment of truth time. Really, that wasn't that bad to install. It does take a couple of minutes. You do got to move some stuff around, but overall, that's what the space looks like. Left the paper in there. I did zip tie these guys up above the top. I think it looks better and it's not cramming everything. Part number for this is 288-2080, available at your local Polaris. I'll try to find some links, put it down below.